working right now under the working title of NFL Tree, and this is our podcast pilot episode. So thank you for being here. We appreciate it.
We're going to start out by talking about what we predicted for the week 1 of this exciting NFL season, where we went wrong, and what we're looking forward to for week 2.
Yeah. And we tried to get a week 1 video out, but things got kind of crazy, so we're starting at week 2. But better late than never.
Let's just jump right in. It was an exciting week 1. We had some really fun matchups. First off, we had the Bills-Rams game, and I had picked the Bills to win, of course. They're looking like one of the top teams in the NFL, and sure enough, I was right.
Yep, I was wrong. I went with the previous Super Bowl champs, and they very much disappointed me.
They're on that Super Bowl hangover, I swear. And we actually also had the Chicago Bears losing to the San Francisco 49ers, which proved both of us wrong.
Yep.
Not much to say there. I guess the weather just got the better of a young Trey Lance and the San Francisco defense.
Yeah, and the next game, here's the thing. We're not going to predict ties. That's not happening. But Texans and Colts, they did it. They tied.
They sure did it.
Did not anticipate that. I expected the Colts to win outright in that game.
I mean, really, with an upgraded quarterback in Matt Ryan, they had Michael Pittman, you've got Jonathan Taylor as your running back. Like, that should have been a much more prominent offense than what we saw at that game. We saw it in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
It's not in, quarters 1 through 3.
Then we were both wrong with our next game.
Oh, who would have predicted that Joe Burrow threw 4 interceptions?
Yeah, definitely an off night for Cincinnati. I think they should bounce back, though.
They'll bounce back. They'll shake the rust off. Like, they had that game under the belt. They're good. Steelers looked pretty much like the Steelers. They were opportunistic. They capitalized just the right moments. I'm not expecting a lot out of this team, but Mitch Trubisky still has a few surprises in him, I think.
Yeah. Then we have the revenge game for Baker Mayfield.
It wasn't really a revenge game. He didn't do that well.
Yeah. But we had Cleveland, Carolina, almost said Cincinnati, but
of course I picked Carolina. I liked Baker Mayfield's situation in Carolina more than I liked Cleveland's quarterback situation with Jacoby Brissett. And Christian McCaffrey I thought was going to do a lot more than the 40 yards of offense he gained or whatever.
That's true. For me, here's the thing. I had Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt on my fantasy team last year, and they were the backbone of that team. They're both back and healthy. That is why I picked them to win. I just think that's their strong suit, and the defense has been a little more solid.
It's a good D-line they've got. I was surprised. I counted the Browns D-line out, but they showed up in a big way. Next we had my Patriots traveling to Miami, take on the Dolphins there, and I accurately predicted that my Patriots are not doing so well right now.
Yeah, I thought Bill Belichick would take advantage of a rookie coach, and I was dead wrong in that one.
That was quite the debacle of a game. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I'm mildly worried, but I think Bill still has some time to prove me wrong, and he has pretty much every time so far. So
yeah, it's just week 1.
It's week 1.
Yeah. All right, then we got Washington. Who did Washington play?
Washington played the Jaguars.
Ah, yes.
Which is why we both picked the Commanders. To beat the Jaguars. Look, Trevor Lawrence is looking a lot better. This season looked like it's going to be much improved over the Urban Meyer disaster from last season, but it just wasn't quite enough to overcome the veteran quarterback that is Carson Wentz, who is now, with Dak Prescott's injury, the most experienced quarterback in that division.
Yeah, honestly, that division may turn out to be
That's terrible.
Quite an interesting division. Okay, after that we got the Eagles, who I don't remember who
they barely held on to the Lions.
Oh, that's true. Here's the thing. I expected the Lions to be more of a competitive team this year. They're looking good. The culture that they got going on there is just phenomenal right
Absolutely.
now.
Dan Campbell's killing it out there. He's got a good repertoire with the team. DeAndre Swift led the team in rushers again. Like, he put up fantastic numbers. They all just have a much better chemistry. The Eagles team that we're looking into,
the offense still gives me a lot of concerns, but I think defensively that team is still as strong as ever.
I mean, A.J. Brown absolutely killed it. He's doing fantastic. Jalen, there's still a few question marks with him. He was just not quite as accurate as we'd like him to be. But other than that, this Eagles offense looks like it can fly high.
Yeah. Then we got the Ravens. I'm so bad at remembering who played who.
The Ravens played the Jets.
The Jets, okay.
So no one's surprised. Not really the revenge game anyone was expecting on their list. Joe Flacco taking on his old Ravens. Unfortunately, Joe Flacco looked like Joe Flacco. And the Jets just couldn't quite do enough to overcome what the Ravens were getting. To the Jets' credit, they have been looking a lot better than they did last season. And if it weren't for a few just really unlucky plays, the Jets should have been in this pretty much until the end. The box score doesn't quite tell the whole story. It should have been more like 24-20, not 24-9.
Yeah, the thing for me is Baltimore's offense really stood out. They attacked the Jets from multiple angles too, so that they're looking real good in early season form.
The only problem is Lamar was looking inconsistent. His completion percentage was right around that 50% mark. He's just not quite where he wants to be if he really wants to demand that contract extension he's looking for.
Yeah. So moving on, we got NFC South matchup. Unfortunately, I picked wrong here. I went with the Falcons.
The Falcons.
Here's the thing. The Saints, Sean Payton's gone.
Mm-hmm.
And, they've lost some of their offensive line pieces, but that defense did surprise me how strong they still are. But the Falcons did hang in that game.
They did.
It was a really long time, and their young offense looks to be explosive.
It was a Jameis Winston comeback that really sealed the deal for the team, which is not something you expect out of Jameis. You get a nice little inconsistency with him from game to game. But, Taysom Hill stepped up in his new role as tight end, and the entire Saints offense just started looking better towards the end of the game. It's like they start to find that rhythm, and they're going to be building into it. This is a team to watch out for. They're on the up and up.
Yeah. All right, after that, we got AFC South. No, not AFC South. AFC West matchup in the Raiders and the Chargers. It was a rough week for me, guys. Yet again wrong. I went with the Raiders. I thought the offensive attack was going to be much better in this game, but I was wrong. The Chargers were a much more well-rounded team in this game and pretty much controlled it.
The big piece is the Chargers defense. They've gotten so many new pieces in this offseason. Pretty much they've revamped their entire defense.
Well, that was their weakness last year.
Absolutely.
Is they could put points up, but they could not stop anybody, and that's where they lost a lot of games late. And so now with those veteran pieces on the defense, this team looks pretty scary.
Absolutely. You've got Khalil Mack and Kyle Van Noy on the inside. You've got J.C. Jackson and Bryce Callahan as your corners. You've got Asante Samuel in there. That is a killer defense, and they are crushing it right now. The offense, Justin Herbert leading it just as explosive. They're doing wonderful things there. Austin Eckler's looking like another top running back for your fantasy leagues. Mike Williams, one of the top receivers, and they're just going to have a wonderful season, except for this week. We'll get to that.
All right, moving on. We've got a game that I anticipated to be a lot closer, but was not. And that is the Chiefs versus Cardinals.
Cardinals look like they forgot to show up for the first half. The Chiefs just ran away with it and never let up. I mean, there's not much else to say. Patrick Mahomes just carved apart a Cardinals defense that just wasn't ready for him.
If there's a team you don't want to get behind, it's the Chiefs.
Good luck coming from behind on that one. And then this one surprised both of us. We both picked the Titans to beat the Giants rather handily. We actually commented, we were looking through the matchups and we're like, this is an open shut case for us. Titans over Giants, easy pick.
Yeah, but the Giants showed with their new pieces, they're going to be a lot more competitive this year. And Tennessee, we're talking about a former 1 seed. It's very hard to anticipate that an up-and-coming Giants team would knock them off. They did have a good draft this year.
Saquon's starting to look like old Saquon.
Yeah.
So he's going to be back to his career-leading.
If he can stay healthy.
If he stays healthy, of course.
And then, you got a new coach, new system in there. Hopefully that trend continues, that his new system, that could lead him to wins.
Future Hall of Famer Evan Neal on your leading your O-line. Paving the way for Saquon to actually return to form.
Yeah, and honestly, with how that division potentially looks like it's shaping up, they could be pretty competitive.
It could be interesting. Another one that stumped both of us was Green Bay and Minnesota. We both picked Green Bay to win, and Aaron Rodgers decided to prove us wrong.
Yeah, here's the thing. We noticed this when we were watching the game. Week 1, Aaron Rodgers is just different. Last year with the Saints, this year with the Vikings. I think the Packers will bounce back, but definitely a tough game in Minnesota.
Especially without a lot of your key players, like without Alan Lazard, without
David Bakhtiari.
There's a lot of key pieces for that team that didn't seem as critical, but now with how many pieces you lost in the offseason, you're looking to these veterans a lot more. And once they come back, it's going to be a much different Green Bay.
Yeah, and they're going to have a game at home against Chicago Sunday night. And, Lambeau's going to be rocking. So hopefully that gives them the energy. And hopefully they get those guys back so so Aaron Rodgers can own the Bears again.
I'm sure he will. Now we've got a nice little Sunday night matchup. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the Dallas Cowboys. A game we both predicted would go in favor of Tom Brady and the Buccaneers. But one we did not anticipate would only have one touchdown the entire game.
Both offenses sputtered a lot for two teams that really are more known for their offensive firepower. Well, Tampa Bay's defense was kind of better last year, but they lost a lot of pieces, so we kind of anticipated that.
And Julio Jones is starting to look like the Julio Jones that was making headlines over in Atlanta. He and Tom Brady, with that receiving room, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, and Julio Jones, that's a fun offense to watch. And they were marching up and down the field. Dallas just had a really good red zone D.
Yeah, I also think, the meshing of the team, for every team in the NFL right now, but more importantly for the Bucs, who kind of had a huge kind of movement this offseason. You kind of need to remesh, got a new coach.
Yeah.
Just kind of need to get comfortable with each other, and I think they'll still be a really great team. And it was just a slow performance out of the gate.
And, Tom Brady dealing with his personal life, maybe that had an impact, but that's for him to figure out, not for us.
Yeah.
And then finally, a Monday night showdown stumper.
Yeah. This game was not great. But definitely, for me, the most shocking thing was the way the Broncos managed this game. We both picked them to win. Honestly, the Seahawks looked really bad in the preseason. They don't really have much on that roster apart from Lockett and Metcalf. Mm-hmm. Defensive side, you lose Bobby Wagner. You're just kind of expecting that this isn't going to be the year for them. But really, the Broncos mismanaged this game horribly, especially down the stretch.
And then Geno ended up having a near perfect game.
Yeah, good performance for Geno. If he can keep that up, the Seahawks will be in great shape. But
Rashad Penny decided to actually start playing well, because with the Chris Carson injury, there was a lot of it wasn't too clear if Rashad Penny was going to be able to fill that hole the Seahawks had at running back, but it looks like he's going to do just fine.
Yeah. And that was our week 1 predictions. Like I said, really rough week for me. Pretty good week for Zach.
I did all right. I went 9-6-1 with that bizarre tie that no one was expecting. Braden over here, not quite as lucky.
6-9-1.
6-9-1.
We're gonna get back this week, hopefully. So we got our week 2 picks here.
We had a fun Thursday night that I got
wrong. Yeah, because this is obviously coming to you on a Saturday night.
I had all day Thursday. Funny story. I had actually locked in. I said Chiefs all the way. They're going to beat the Chargers, especially because it's in Arrowhead. And all day Thursday, I'm thinking, I just really like the Chargers defense more than I like the Chiefs defense. I think the Chargers offense can go toe-to-toe, so if the defense wins, it's the Chargers victory. So I switched my pick right before kickoff to the Chargers. And for about 3 quarters, I was feeling pretty good about that pick.
Yeah, but...
And then the Chiefs decided to, beat the Chiefs. Very unfortunate.
Yeah. And unfortunately, Herbert got hurt and just was not playing up to form.
The guy's a trooper, though. With the drives he led, even while he had that fractured rib cartilage, oh my goodness. Wish him the best. Hope he gets better. The Chargers are going to need him down the stretch.
Yeah.